You guys know Serena Williams?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Serena Williams took French lessons. Did you know that? She got a coach to teach her French. No. She got a coach because she said, I want to learn the language of French. So she got a coach. This person worked with her day and night to teach her French. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Let me tell you why. You want to know why? She said, so when I win the French Open, I can deliver the thank you speech in French. That's expectation. You see what I'm saying? You find what you're looking for, and so you have to set the expectation tonight. She had an expectation that she was going to win. Everybody say going to win. We're here to win. She had an expectation, I'm going to win. I don't think I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And she spent the money to learn the language, and when she got the microphone, she said, oui, oui. That's all I know. But my point is that she just delivered the speech in French.
That's it.
Because she had the expectation. And so what I love that she did, thank you for introducing that exercise, is she had us write some things down to set the expectation. Because you find what you're looking for. And so if you didn't come here looking for something, you'll probably find nothing. But if you came here looking for something, I believe it's in the room. Now, I love something you did. You had us go around and meet all of these different people, and I've gotten the chance to probably talk to every single person in this room. The reason that's important, I want you to look to your left, I want you to look to the right, I want you to look around the room, and here's what I want you to know. A lot of times we get caught up in the people up front. I get it. But the person next to you, that might not be their seed. That might be your assignment. That very person. Because we don't know how that person's life is being affected right now. If you met Sheila just out at the store, you would never know that she's going tomorrow to pay tribute to her best friend that she lost. You wouldn't know it. And the reason I'm telling you that is we don't know what people are going through. We have no idea. I remember this song that said, what if God was one of us? Just a stranger on the bus. Trying to make his way home. My favorite book says, be careful how you entertain strangers. Because you might just be entertaining angels unaware. I didn't know when I was sitting in Susan's table in her kitchen. I was entertaining an angel. Sheila Reynolds was that angel. And so that connection brought us here today. And so we have three things that we're going to do today. One of them is wake up, one of them is rise up, and one of them is live up. And so over the next few minutes, I'm going to share some things with you. I'm just going to be transparent. Can I be transparent? It's the only way I know how to be. I'm just going to share some things with you. Because it's not always easy. And I'm thankful to have the opportunity to stand up here. She told you about Black Belt speakers, and so I have to introduce some people in the room. And if you work with me as a speaker, I need you to stand up. Can you do that for me? Please, yes. So this is my family. These are not just speakers. This is my family. This is Dr. Ed Womack. Hopefully you'll get a chance to give an interview back there at the We Rise Radio Network. He's going to record you. This is Tracy Ward from Topeka, Kansas. And this is the Fresh Start coach, Coach Gwen Cunningham. So I want you to give them a hand for coming out. The reason I introduced them is because they're like my family. I do training and I do coaching and all that stuff, but I don't just coach people. Because we have to have a connection. And so if we don't have that connection, it's hard for me to work with you. But if you work with me, then we're probably connected for life. Because I love the connection that we have. I love the things that we do together. Coach Gwen and Tracy, we were just in St. Louis last weekend with my mentor, Les Brown, and we were speaking on stage together and sharing time together. And she said, Les Brown? It's okay, yeah, I know. Yeah, I even work with him too. No, yeah, Les Brown. But I'm going to tell you over the course of this presentation how I met him. I think it's when I woke up.
That's it.
Matter of fact, I don't even think. I remember being in the 3rd grade, and my teacher, Mrs. Edwards, she was an older lady, and she kept telling me, Reuben, there's no place in this world for left-handed people.
What'd you say?
Oh my God.
She said, you have to switch and be right-handed. And the problem was I was left-handed, and it was difficult for me. And I remember going home, and I would try to do my homework left-handed, but it just didn't work because it didn't feel right. I'm not left-handed. I have a question. Has anybody tried to get you to be something that you're not? That they wanted to change the way you do things, change the way you walk, talk, or dress, or act because they wanted you to switch, not for you. See, what I didn't realize at the time, because I was a kid, and I didn't have the ability to discern that the problem wasn't me being a left-handed student. It was her being a teacher and not knowing how to teach left-handed students. Albert Einstein said everyone's a genius, but if you judge a fish by how well it climbs a tree, it will live its whole life thinking it's stupid. And so, you said, Ruben, you're never going to amount to anything because you're a quitter. And you won't switch that pencil over to your right hand. And I would say, I'm trying out. She'd say, shut up. And it affected me. There's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And he said that in the book, there's 3 things that when they happen, it imprints things on the subconscious mind. Number 1, if someone said something to you with emotion or force. Number 2, if it's said to you by an authority figure. And number 3, if it's repeated often, then it imprints on your subconscious mind. And so sometimes when you're doing stuff and you don't even think about it, that message is playing on repeat in the back of your mind. And I would hear all the time, you'll never amount to anything. You'll never be anything. There's no room in this world for left-handers. You are a quitter. You can't do it. You won't do it. It would play in the back of my mind. And I didn't even know what was playing. That's what the subconscious is. You don't even know. It's happening and you don't even know it. And so I wrote this book called Destination Mastery, and I talked about how my life, I always played small. My brother is 11 months older than me, and my mother is the 3rd oldest of 12. So her 2 younger sisters were like my sisters, Veronica and Melodine. And so everybody would say, you're Melodine's nephew, or you're Veronica's nephew, or you're Robbie's brother. And they say it so much that when I would introduce myself, I was like, hi, I'm Robbie's brother. I'm Melodyne's brother. I just did it. I didn't think anything about it. And somebody said, well, why do you say that? I said, it's true. But it's also true that you're Reuben, though. And I didn't know what that meant. Because she had convinced me that being Reuben was a quitter, was ineffective, I wouldn't do anything, that there was no place in this world for me. And the reason I say that is because sometimes when we've heard things over and over and over again, you start to believe it. And so I want you to, during this weekend, challenge what you've been told. I want you to ask questions, but question the answers. Because sometimes people have an agenda when they tell you things. They have an agenda. I was just telling someone today that I love the opportunity to pour into women. And I want to say to every woman in this room now, thank you. That there's something special about you. I mean, there's something that, this is amazing when you really think about it. Imagine God, the creator of all things, thinking, I need a vessel to carry life.
Yes.
I need a vessel to continue on the population, to populate the earth. I need a vessel that's so special and so pure and so patterned after my idea of what life should be, that I'm going to create her and call her a woman. And so thank you for everything you do. Thank you for putting up with the knuckleheads. Some of them are sons, and some of them were husbands, and some of them were husbands. You know what I'm saying? Right? But thank you. Because right, you have to, because without you, we wouldn't be. So thank you. I remember being in Wichita, Kansas. I just met this lovely lady in the back from Wichita, Kansas, and it was crazy because we were just talking. And I asked where she was from. She said, Wichita, Kansas. I said, I used to live there. And as a matter of fact, when I went there, I was a surgical tech. I passed instruments to the doctors, but I had a dream to be a surgical assistant. And I was there under contract, and so I knew that I had to go there and I had to work hard. But I met this nurse, her name was Edwina Blackman. And she said, Ruben, there's something special about you. I'm like, what? It really kind of irritated me when she said it the first time, because I was like, why would she say that? What would make her say that? Why would she tell me that? I didn't understand. So I just kept going on about my business. But here's what she did. Everybody say consistency.
Consistency.
Every day she saw me, she would say, Ruben, there's something special about you. And I was like, yeah, I'm left-handed. I don't think that's special. You know what I'm saying? She said, Ruben, there's something special about you. And she kept saying it, and I didn't know what it was. And she said, you know what? Everybody here loves you. You come in early, you stay late. If we need somebody to take extra call, you're willing to take the extra call. And I didn't mind doing it, but here's what they didn't know. That I had recently went through a divorce. And I didn't want to go to the apartment and think about my children and wonder if they were thinking about me. And so I would just keep busy. I'm speaking to somebody. I would just keep busy because I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to face it. I would just keep busy. I said, I'll just keep going through the motion. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing because I didn't want to have to think about it. But one thing about Edwina is every day she saw me, she said, Ruben, there's something special about you. People will listen to you. You could speak to people. You could change people's lives. She said, Ruben, you can start your own business. Me?
Wow.
But Edwina, you don't understand. Not me. You're speaking to the wrong person. Maybe my brother Robert, or maybe my Aunt Veronica, or my Aunt Melody. Not me. Not me. She said, no. You. There's something special about you. The reason I'm telling you is there's something special about you. And a lot of times we can't see it. And so she kept saying it every day, every day. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. She kept saying it every day. And then after a while, I started thinking, wait a minute. Maybe there is something special about me. What if she's right? I don't, like, what if she's right? She's saying something in me. As a matter of fact, everybody do this. Take your left hand and just put one finger up. Left. Just take one. Okay? And I want you to put it right here. Right, just put it right there and push in right here. And then listen to this. There's something special about you. Okay, put that down. I just didn't want it to go in one ear and out the other. So I just had to. Yeah, she said you're special, all right. We are special. As a matter of fact, let me just address this right now. She said she's a lefty. Is there anyone left-handed in the room? I just want to tell you something. 98.2% of all Nobel laureates, that's everybody that was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, is left-handed.
Wow.
I think there's a place in this world for left-handers, don't you agree? Yeah, I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. And so sometimes when you've been told stuff, you have to research, you have to do your own stuff. That's why I said you have to ask questions and question the answers. A lot of times we just believe what we've been told and it's just not true.
That's it.
And so Edwina said, Ruben, there's something special about you. People will listen to you. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I always wanted to start a business. So I called my friend Kevin Wilson, and I got him on the phone, and I told him, I said, Kev, I want to start this business. He said, what kind of business is it? I said, we're going to have a medical staffing company. We're going to staff nurses and nurses and surgical techs and radiation therapists to hospitals. He said, okay, well, what do you want me to do? I said, I need you to quit your job. He said, okay. I said, no, don't quit now. But it hit me. He would listen to me. No, really. I remember coming up the phone, and I said out loud, Kev, don't quit your job. Don't quit your job. But he listened to me. And then I went home and I sat down and I said, well, what else did she say that could have been right? Because when I was in the Gulf War, I'm a veteran. I was in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm in 1990 and 1991. And honestly, I felt like it was a privilege to serve. Like my mom, I had signed up and my job was a surgical tech. I was a 91 Delta where we passed instruments to the doctors. And when I was at the war, one of the surgeons said, Ruben, I'm going to teach you to assist. Because it's not 9 to 5 at war. You get that? It's not 9 to 5. And so what in the military hospital, in the field, in the 410 evac hospital that we had, there was 2 surgical tables. One on this side and one on this side. And so what you'd be doing is you'd be over here doing surgery right here, and then the surgeon would break, they would just change their gown and gloves, and they'd turn this way, and then at that time, they're taking that patient out, and they're moving another one in. It came that fast. And they would go as long as they could, and then they would change, and they would go back, and everybody had 12-hour shifts, and we worked again and again and again, all day long. And he said, I'm going to teach you how to assist it. We only have so many surgeons, and I think you're very skilled. And so I said, okay. And that night I was sitting on my cot and I said, wait a minute. When I go back to Topeka, Kansas, that's where I'm from. When I go back to Topeka, Kansas, I want to start this profession there. And I don't want to go back and just be a surgical tech passing instruments. I learned too much stuff. I think I was starting to wake up. I learned too much stuff. I said, I want to start this profession there. And so when I got back, I went to my director and I said, Miss G, that was her name. I said, I want to start this surgical assistant profession here. I got a chance to assist while I was over at the war. And she could say yes or she could say no. And she said,
No.
I said, no. She said, what? She said, you don't have a degree in nursing, you don't have a degree in medicine, you ain't a PA, you ain't a nurse practitioner. If you want to assist in surgery, go be a nurse practitioner, go be a PA, or go be another doctor. I said, no, no, no. See, the reason I'm telling you that is because I didn't believe that God would give me an idea without also giving me the capacity to manifest the idea. I don't know any different. My mother's an associate pastor. I have 4 uncles that are bishops. My grandfather was a pastor. So I just grew up on faith. That was like the drink I drank. I just would drink faith, right? So let me tell you what faith looks like, because this is faith applied. Faith is believing in what you do not what?
See.
Oh, let's say that like you believe it. Faith is believing in what you do not what?
See.
Now watch this. Fear is believing in what you do not what?
See.
They're the same thing.
Wow.
It takes the same muscle to operate faith as it takes to operate fear. So you can't operate them at the same time.
No.
Because they both take the same muscle.
Right.
So you're either going to build the faith muscle or you're going to build the fear muscle. And what I just knew, since they always told me, Ruben, you can do anything. You just put your mind to it. I said, well, I'm going to create this profession. And so I couldn't do it at my hospital. They wouldn't let me do it. I tried for 10 years. They kept saying, no, 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 no. I'm talking to somebody here because sometimes we put all of our energy in doing something and it's the right thing, but you're at the wrong place. You get that? It's the right thing, but you're at the wrong place. It's the right thing, but it's the wrong time. And so when I went to Wichita, Kansas, I ran into one of those angels. She said, Ruben, there's something special about you. That you can start your own company. You can start your own business. And so I said, well, wait a minute. I'm going to see if I could start this profession here. And then I met 2 other gentlemen, Ron DeGan from Seattle, Washington, and James Johnson from Little Rock, Arkansas. And I said, what's the possibility of us being at the same place at the same time with the same idea? They were both in the military, they were both surgical techs, and they both had the idea to start this profession.
Wow.
They say coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous.
Wow.
That's a writer down. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yes, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. And so I said, I think we're supposed to do this together. And see, you got to realize it's no coincidence that you're here. That some of you want to take your life to the next level. Some of you want to take your passion to the next level. That's why Sheila put together Wake Up, Rise Up, Live Up. If you saw all of her credentials, you would be blown away. And so she's here. She put this together because she wants to help someone do the same thing, take their life to the next level. And so tomorrow they'll probably give you an opportunity to work with Sheila, and I would recommend that you do it. Number 1, you're not going to find a more kinder, gentler, sincere person. But number 2, she's credentialed down. You know what I'm saying? Right? I said, I think we can start this company. And I said, but here's the deal. I'm a talker. So if we're going to do it, you got to let me do the talking. And you guys got to agree that whatever I come up with, you just got to agree with it. They're like, Ruben, if you can get this going, we'll do it. Because James had tried it in Little Rock and Ron had tried it in Seattle and it didn't work. And so, me, Ruben, I have that effect.
Just my life.
Me, Ruben, I went into the vice president's office of the hospital. They don't talk to surgical techs. But it's different when God gives you a word. Because his word can open doors that no man can close. And so I went in the door. And I said, I'd like to talk to you, Mr. Johnson. And the problem was the secretary was like, hey, you can't go. I said, Mr. Johnson, I'd like to talk to you. He said, what is it? I said, what would it be worth to you if we could keep the operating rooms busy all day long? See, I knew how much they charged for those rooms. And what I also knew is that Wichita, Kansas at the time had more hospitals per capita than any city in the U.S. because the doctors were building their own hospital. They had the Galicia Heart Hospital and the Kansas Surgery and Recovery Hospital. They had the Kansas Heart Hospital. They had Wesley and St. Joe, all these hospitals. But what happened is the doctor would be here waiting to work, but his partner was across town, so nothing was happening. And so he's responsible for bringing in the money. He said, man, that would be amazing. How do we do that? I said, you do it by using surgical assistants. He said, well, where do we get them at? I said, we're here. He said, why? I said, yes, sir, we're here. He said, tell me about it. So I told him, and he said, well, wait a minute. If you want to do that, you would have to have some kind of insurance. I said, yes, sir. We all have $1 million, $3 million policies.
Good.
That's
God.
it.
They say the highest form of faith is preparation. See, if you believe you're going to do it, you'll put it into work to make it happen. And so I had it all there. Yeah, write that down. The highest form of faith is preparation. And I pulled out the thing. I said, look, Doc, I'm ready to roll. And he said, well, we would have to get the surgeons to agree. I said, no problem. They already signed these letters saying they want the help because they didn't want to wait around either. And he said, man, it looks like you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's. I said, yeah, with my left hand. And he said, we'll let you do it. And I was like, what? He said, yes, we're going to let you do it. And then he said, but we're not going to pay you for it. That wasn't what I wanted. I'm just being honest. That wasn't what I wanted. But here's the thing. I said, okay. Like, all I wanted is a shot. Like, all I want is the opportunity to get out there and show what I can do. And he said, yeah, we'll let you do it. So I said, here's what we'll do. We'll move our shifts to 3 to 11, and from 3 to 11, we'll work as surgical techs. But from 7 to 3, we'll assist any surgeon that wants help. He said, deal. I shook his hand. So I went out. And I went back to my friends. And they was waiting. What'd they say? I said, they said yes. They're like, yeah. Right? So we was bumping chests and bumping them. You know how guys. We couldn't help it. And they said, now y'all know what they wanted to know, right? They said, Ruben, come on, quit playing. I said, what? Quit playing, quit playing. How much money? He's laughing already. I said, nothing. He said, what? I said, no. They said they're not going to pay us. They said, what? I said, they're not going to pay us. What do you mean they're not going to pay us? I said, guys, listen. A career is something you love so much you do it for free. But you do it so well, then they're willing to pay you for it. They don't know what we can do. And even if they were going to pay us, they'd only give us $1 or $2 an hour raise. We were surgical techs at that time. The average surgical tech working for the hospital, maybe about $14, $15. So I'm not trying to get them to give me $16. Let's go show them what we're worth. Plus, you guys said you would agree with whatever I came back with. You've never been able to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? What are you looking at me for? And so they said, we'll do it. And I shook James's hand. And I shook Ron's hand. And I started walking off. And Ron said to James, we ain't never letting him negotiate for us again. He said, we ain't letting him negotiate again. But here's what we did. We went into the hospital and we said, hey, we're coming as surgical assistants. He said, what? Because they never had that. What is that? It's us. And so we started helping people, and everybody would laugh at us and said, wait a minute, let me get this straight. You're working for free? Yes. You're going to do an 8-hour shift for free? All day, all week. And they said, that's stupid. As a matter of fact, one nurse laughed so hard, she fell off the couch laughing. She was laughing so hard, I couldn't stop laughing because it was funny just to watch her laugh. And she said, Ruben, I got to tell you something. I can't see me working for free. Helen Keller said the only thing worse than being blind was to have sight with no vision. I didn't worry about what she could see because she didn't have my vision. I'm telling you, because when you get the idea, everybody's not going to see it. If everybody can see it, that's not the idea. I read this book called Chase the Lion. It said, go after a dream so big that's destined to fail without divine intervention. Listen to that. I'm going to say it again. Go after a dream so big that's destined to fail without divine intervention. And then it said this. This was powerful. Listen to this. It said, work for the applause of nail-scarred hands. What? See, the reason I'm telling you this is, watch this. Now, let me ask you this. If I had a cup of pennies right here, and I asked you to pick up a penny and take it over here and put it in this cup over here, could you do it?
Yes.
Okay. If I said, can you pick up 2 pennies and take them over here and put them in this cup over here, could you do it?
Yes.
What if I told you to take all the pennies, walk all the way over here, and dump them in this cup? Let me ask you, could you do it?
Yes.
That's how our dreams are to God. None of it is any harder than anything else. It's only in our mind that we make it difficult. He's not challenging over there, sitting over there challenging, oh my God, they want 2 pennies. It's nothing. It's exceedingly abundantly above what we can ask and think. And so if I want to create this profession, I feel like that's well within his ability to take this penny and move it over here. And so here's one thing I want to tell you. What you wrote down as your goal, of your dream, let that represent the size of your God. Let that represent the size of your faith. And I got big faith. I believed I was going to start this profession. And so we went in every single day assisting these doctors. And they would say to me on the weekends, Ron and Ruben, how long do we do this? And I'd say, we do it until we manifest the results that we want. See, the reason I say that is because some people already determine when they're going to quit. They'll say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm willing to try this 3 times, and if I don't get on the 3rd try, I'm out. Who are you? Who are you? Because, watch this, I'm going to tell them. It's like sometimes stuff just comes to me, I apologize. But I got to tell you this. The Greek word for time is chronos. That's the chronological movement of time. But there's another time called Kairos, which is the God-given moment for your breakthrough. The God-given moment for you to transition from over here to over there. And sometimes when you already put the stopping point, in other words, I'm going to go up there and one time, and if they don't give me the job, I ain't going back. You don't understand that wasn't your Kairos moment. That was just the chronos. That was just the chronological order. You were just supposed to go up there, and you may have to go up there 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 times. But if you already told God, this is all I'm going to do.
Right. Oh my goodness.
It's not that he didn't give it to you.
Right.
You didn't do the work. See, because sometimes he's testing our faith. And so we kept going back. How many times do we have to go up there? Until we manifest the results. And so we kept going back. And then one week, I call it Hell Week. It was a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that the doctors needed us. Wednesday at 2:32, there was a gunshot. And they said, they're bringing the patient in. They're going to need one of you guys to assist. We can't because at 3 o'clock, we're surgical techs. Thursday, it was 2:47. They said, we're going to need one of you guys to assist. There's a car wreck coming in. We can't. Because we're surgical techs, 3 o'clock. Friday, there was an open heart coming down from the cath lab. And they wanted us to harvest the vein and help with the bypasses. And we said, we can't because it's 3 o'clock. So we went home that day and we said, we blew it. But we put it out there, but we can't control the result. And I said, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in on Monday with our heads held high. Because at least we tried. Our President Roosevelt had a quote. He said, it's not the critic who counts. I think he was talking about those people laughing at us. It's not the critic who counts. I think he's talking about those people who talk about you, that tell you, you can't do it, and why are you trying it? You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're overqualified, underqualified. He said it's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man, the woman, who is actually in the arena. I've watched a lot of basketball games, and they listen to the refs, they listen to their teammates, they listen to the coach. Sometimes they even listen to the other players, but you know who they're not going to listen to? The people in the stand. I said, it doesn't matter what they said to us because at least we got in the arena. At least we took a stab. At least we tried. At least we got in there. At least we stepped out on faith. People talk about it, but they never take the step. That's just lip service. And so we're going to go in Monday with our heads held high. And Monday when we went in, they said, hey, you know, Mr. Johnson is looking for you guys and wants to talk to you. I already know. I think you throw it up my face. So me and James went into his office and we said, yes, sir. He said, there was an issue last week. These guys were looking for some help and you guys couldn't help. You know. The docs were pretty upset. But they said if we gave you a contract, they'd bring all of their surgical cases to our hospital.
That's it.
So like by now I'm like kicking James under the table. Just kicking. And he said, we're prepared to offer you guys $100,000 each. I'm wearing his ankle out. But I said, listen, can we go out in the hallway and talk about it? And he said, yes. And so I got up. And I'm going to be honest with you. I had a different walk on the way out than I had coming in. I was like, all right. And we got out in the hallway and it had one of those slow closing doors, and I pushed it. I was like, wait for it, wait for it. And when it closed, I said, yes! That was our Kairos moment.
Yeah.
That was the moment that can change your title from surgical technologist to surgical assistant. And all of us can have those Kairos moments if we're willing to step out there, if we're willing to believe, if we're willing to put in the work. Now, let me tell you what happens. Sometimes we judge ourselves. See, what I knew is that I was just going to be excellent because money follows excellence, not the other way around. I knew that if I was excellent, we would stand out. And so write this down. Don't work to make your presence known. Work to make your absence felt. Write that again, right? Don't work to make your presence known. Work to make your absence felt. Because when they couldn't have us, then they needed us. That's why my wife has texted me 5 times already. I work to make my absence felt. You know what I'm saying? She's feeling the brother right now. When you coming home, I need to talk to you. That's real, you know? I work to make my absence felt. But let me tell you what happens. We start to see ourselves based on what we've achieved. We start to see ourselves based on what we've accomplished. You see? And it's not unreasonable, it's just not true. It's not unreasonable, it's just not true. Let me help you out. If I had an apple tree right up here, and it had apples on it, what kind of tree would it be? Say it again. It would be an apple tree. Now, what if it didn't have any apples on it? What kind of tree would it be? Yeah, but what kind of tree? It's still an apple tree. Now watch this. It's not an apple tree because it has apples. It's an apple tree because that's what it was created to do. And sometimes because we haven't borne the fruit, we doubt who we were created to be. It's not true. You were still created to be magnificent. You were still created to do great things. You were still created to make great connections. It doesn't matter if it hasn't happened so far. You've just been through Chronos. And all you're waiting for is the Kairos. Because at that moment, the fruit comes. And so I've never been scared to go in and put in the work. You know why? Because I know that there's a breakthrough moment. There's a breakthrough moment. Like, let me help, see if I can help you. You've all heard of the caterpillar and the butterfly. And we all talk about the transition from the caterpillar to the butterfly and how the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and all that stuff, and they come out a butterfly. We've all heard that. We've all heard that analogy. Let me see if I can put a twist on it. Say you heard it here. We have to realize that the caterpillar literally carries 2 sets of DNA. Is that amazing? And when it goes into the cocoon, the caterpillar DNA dies off. And the butterfly DNA comes alive. It becomes a new creature. That sounds biblical, doesn't it? It becomes a new creature. I was reading some studies, and they were studying human genetics, human DNA. And they said, we only understand what 20 to 40% of the DNA does. And they said the rest of it is just junk DNA. They said, we only know what this part does, and the rest of it is just junk. See, when they can't understand it, they say it's just junk. But what if when we go into our spiritual cocoon, and we start fasting, and we start praying, and we start believing, and we start trusting, and we start stepping out, what if that process is our cocoon? And what if it wakes up that other DNA, and we start hearing the voice, and we start seeing things that other people can't see, and trusting things that other people can't believe to trust? What if that's the process that wakes up our other DNA? Is it? I don't know, but I just do it. I'm willing to step out there. And this is what I want you to think about this weekend. You came with an expectation. And it's right here for you. Everybody say, go after what you want.
Go after what you want.
It's right here for you. It's right here. And sometimes your next level is going to come with your next connection. That's why I said it may be an opportunity for you to work with Sheila. Maybe that's the connection that's going to take you to the next level. Because sometimes we can't get there by ourselves. I traveled to South Africa. I got a chance to speak. I went with my connection, Les Brown. He said, Reuben, I want you with me. Yes, sir. She said, that's fine. Yeah. It's our next level. You have to go after what you want. And so if there's something you want, you can't just put it on the back burner. You have to go after it. So let me tell you this as I close. I remember being in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was at a conference. We'd had a booth at the conference, and I was in the Cleopatra, and I had been sitting there with some friends of mine. We were talking, and I looked in the back of the room, and I said, the Lord is my shepherd. I see what I want. I saw this woman walk in the door. I said, Lord. Remember that movie, Glory? Remember? And they was like, oh, my Lord, Lord. That's how I was feeling. I said, let me just pay this money, because I got to go talk to that young lady back there. And so by the time I got back there, my friend who had just heard me say that, he was out there dancing with her. And so I just walked right up. And I said, why are you dancing with him? And she said, excuse me? Do I know you? I said, no, but you should. And she said, okay, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? And I said, but there's something about you. When you walked in the door, my heart skipped a beat or two. She said, mm-hmm. And she said, mm-hmm, I bet it did. And I said, listen, I got to talk to you. There's just something about you. And she said, okay, well, we'll be done in a minute. I said, I'm not leaving. I'll stand here the whole song.
Your friend.
I'm looking at him like, and so she got done, and we walked up and we sat down, and I said, what's your name? She said, my name is Robin. I said, my name is Reuben. She said, okay. I said, man, this is a hard nut to crack. I can't get it. I said, well, there's just something about you. I don't know what it is. The way you looked at me, she said, I didn't look at you. I said, well, the way you're looking at me now. I said, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about you. She said, I said, but this is what I want to do. Like, who are you here with? She said, I'm here with my father and my uncle and my family. I said, do me a favor, go get rid of all them and come back. And she said, we just came in to use the bathroom. We're leaving. I said, yeah, get rid of them. Have them go wherever they want to go, but you come back. And she said, we're leaving. I said, yes, we'll come back. Are you coming back? She said, no. I said, yeah, because they were saying that. I said, yeah, you're not coming back. Yeah, go ahead. And so they left. And so 3 days later, when I talked to her on the phone, because we exchanged cards, I said, where'd you go? She said, we left. I said, I thought you were coming back. She said, I told you I wasn't coming back. And I said, I thought that was code. And she said, it was, for I'm not coming back. You got to be what you say sometimes, don't you? She said, I told you I'm not coming back. I said, well, there was just something about you, though. And I don't know what it is. But can you do me a favor? Would you just send me a picture of you? And she said, you're weird. I said, call me whatever you want, but can you just send me a picture? And she said, for what? I said, because you don't understand. I've got to see that smile again. I've got to see those eyes again. Can you just send me a picture? She said, yeah, quit begging. And so she sent me this picture. All I wanted to do was get her address. And so she lived in Indianapolis. I lived in Kansas. Wow. And so I went out to the Kansas stores. Everything Kansas. It has shirts, cups. But I got a stack of postcards. And every day, I would send her another postcard. Wow. Every day, every day, every day, every day, and 2 on Saturday, because I knew she wouldn't get it on Sunday. And I did it the first month, the second month, and the third month. Every day. Never missed a day. I was running out of stuff to say. Here's your postcard. Well, you know what I'm saying? You know what I thought is I should have wrote down what I said the last time, because I'm sure I'm saying the same stuff. And now I'm going to repeat it twice or a couple times. I was just running out of stuff to say, but all I want, sometimes I say, you're on my mind. I just sent the postcard. See, consistency is the key. That you have to show up for what you want. You have to show up again and again. I learned that in surgery, that I had to show up again and again and again. No matter what happened, my job was to show up. My job was to be consistent. Excellence was my motto. And then check this out. One day, I didn't send the postcard. And she called me. Reuben! Yeah? I didn't get my postcard. Got him. And hits my finger, we're married. Right? But sometimes you got to show up again and again, and you don't work to make your presence known. You work to make your absence felt. When she didn't get that postcard, she felt it. She called me. And so I realized something. That in life, everything you want is right there for the taking. But you have 3 steps that you have to do. And if you do those 3 steps, You can get it. Number one, you have to wake up. When I saw her, I knew that was exactly what I wanted. I didn't hesitate. I didn't procrastinate. I took action. So they're going to give you the opportunity. If you feel like working with Sheila is what you should do, don't hesitate. Don't think about it. Take what? Action. Come on, y'all. Take what? Action. And when's the best time to take action? Like what? Right now. I didn't wait. I saw her and I said, hey, wait, I got it right there. The lady's like, you gonna pay? Yeah, here, take this money. That was the biggest tip she probably ever got on a little drink. Because I just gave her the whole thing. I had to get out here. Because it was worth it to me. Yeah. She's offering you the opportunity to work. It's worth it to you. And so you got to take action right now. You have to wake up. The next thing is you have to rise up. I said, wait a minute. I've got to do something I've never done. What do they say? To get something you never had, you got to be willing to do something you've never done.
That's it.
And so I sent them postcards. But it's not enough to just get them. You got to keep them.
Yes.
The third step is you have to live up to it. And that's why she keeps texting me. I'm living up to it. I want to leave you with this. It's a quote by Mother Teresa. She says, sometimes people are unreasonable and self-centered. Love them anyway. She said, if you're kind, people may cheat you. Be kind anyway. If you're honest, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. She said, be honest anyway. She said, if you find happiness, check it out. Some people are going to be jealous. She said, be happy anyway. She said, the good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. She said, do good anyway. Give the world your best, and it may never be enough. She said, give your best anyway. For in the end, it was between you and God, and it was never between you and them anyway. I'm Ruben West. Wake up, rise up, live up. Thank you.